Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's Fresh Forum. My name is Lori Aker, Director of Marketing for Earth Fare, and we have such a fabulous segment today. GenoPalette is our guest, and through extensive research, GenoPalette it decodes your DNA to provide tailored nutritional advice, linking genetic markers to health outcomes and providing personalized food recommendations. Now, GenoPalette was found in 2016 by Dr. Sherry Zhang, an obesity genomics researcher and a health tech entrepreneur with 17 years of experience helping individuals achieve optimal health and wellness with science. Now, this program uses a simple genetic test to generate a unique essential nutrition report that offers valuable knowledge about how an individual's genes influence eating habits, stress response, and various aspects of overall wellness. Now, these insights inform customized meal plans, recipe cards, and nutrition supplements, plus access to coaching from a registered dietitian. Now, today, Dr. Sherry will discuss the evolution of GenoPalette and how consumers can leverage information about their unique genetic makeup to inform food choices, sleeping habits, and so much more. Today, you can expect to gain clarity on how to position and leverage healthy eating, food, and nutrition in the greater context of scientific wellness. Now, I will say we will have a live Q&A session after the presentation. There's a Q&A button located at the bottom of your screen. Make sure to put any questions in there, and Dr. Sherry will be sure to answer them. So without further ado, Sherry, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Lori. You should do all my intro from now on.
Happy to.
Very kind. And I'm very delighted to share this moment of life and the next hour with you and your audience.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Let me see if we have slide up and we can advance. Can you see my slide? Perfect. Hi, everybody. As a geneticist studying obesity for over a decade, I can tell you we all share the hungry gene for food. And that's for our survival. It's very, very brilliant. We'll talk about that more. But as a scientist turned entrepreneur in the biotech, I can also tell you that we genetically also share the hungry gene for innovation, for the opportunity to live a better life. And so today, through our hopefully very engaging discussion with you and Lori, I'd like to accomplish two things with you. We'll have to get some jobs done today. One, I'd like to tell you provide the updates for you to understand the fantastic new science through the nutritional genomics, we call it. So it's a linking between your genes to the food you eat, how you eat them, and your optimal health and long-term wellness. That's number one I would like to accomplish with your support. Secondly, I would like to show you how do we use that information to live a better life and be healthy. So if we can go forward, I believe everyone has a story that has 3 chapters: your past, your present, and your future. As you probably can resonate with the following statement, that food has played a very important role in your story. It has shaped our past. It is editing our present, and it will continue influencing our future, especially through health. Just like for living a better life that everybody deserves, I always wondering, where did I come from? I truly believe if we don't know where we come from, we will not know where we're heading to. This applies to life and health. So those are the questions when I was a curious kid and then turned into a curious scientist and researcher and an entrepreneur. I asked that question over and over again. Where did I come from? Specifically for what I know best, nutrigenomics, health, obesity, and chronic diseases that can be reversed by better nutrition. Why? What kind of a genotype in me that makes me digest metabolize the same food with totally different outcomes than my mom, even my son, my friend. Some are genetically shared more genes, and some are shared remote genes, right? So those are the questions when I found myself constantly asking those questions when I was having the opportunity studying obesity and metabolic syndrome at the Medical College of Wisconsin with the late Dr. Kasiba, Ahmed Kasiba, who actually defined the metabolic syndrome clinical definition for our society. He is the brain behind, if you grow up with the concept of apple versus pear shape, the central obesity, which is detrimental. And we can touch upon more of that in later time. So I spent the first half, which is over a decade of my career, on studying obesity genetics, creating new knowledge and publish them. And I loved it. It was fabulous time. This is when human genome was first sequenced several years into it. There's an explosion of a power of accessing data and making sense of the data. And we're still cracking that code, but there's so much we would never have known done, even 20 years ago from genomics health perspective and through nutrition. And at the same time, I became a young mom. First time motherhood enabled me to develop this drive to find better nutrition, optimal nutrition for optimal health for my son. And then that idea propagated to know-how that powering today's platform where, so in 2016, I finally decided to establish a direct-to-consumer platform where we can help fill the gap where people don't have enough access to genomic DNA and personalized nutrition information for health. And even today, and we'll talk through our story of building the company, but we are really proudly servicing over 170,000 individuals today from all the teamwork at the GenoPalette. Started with that one vision in the lab that I knew there is a big problem and we have a big answer for, which is through the food, we can help you to understand your genomic pattern, your owner's manual to become a healthier and live a longer life. So that's a short version of my long career pursuit that led us to be talking to you today. When you push your cart in Earth Fare, shopping for dinner, I wonder how many times you ask yourself the same question I ask myself many, many times is, of all the choices out there, right? Healthy, unhealthy, processed, whole foods, what foods are right for me? It's not for everybody else, it's for me. So we know there are many factors determining your optimal health. And then we know everybody has their own story. It's a very unique and beautifully different lifestyle, your genetics, your environment, your social determination of your health all play a very important role. But we're still living in the time where nutrition of food and health is provided in a very one-size-fits-all model. We urgently need a personalized nutrition for you. Seminal work that built upon 2 decades of study and research show that when we're looking at determinants of health, if you look at this pie chart, 30% of your overall health status is determined by genetic factors. And then we develop a lot of learnings through the last 2 decades of work, and we'll dive into a little bit more. Behavior is very important. You know that, right? If you don't change your behavior, knowing how much you have a risk for certain diseases is not going to help you. So it's really thinking about that as a conversation between your genes and your environment. And through your behavior, you can make a lot of changes. And then healthcare, unfortunately, is only support 10% of the variance we see in today's health status, which is a reality we want to change. So I want to dive into why genetic factor of your health and nutrition is so important, and what is the updates through the recent advancements so far. And this is a page of your genomic book. As we said, this is your owner's manual you're born into. It has precisely 3.2 billion letters in every single cells that carry your DNA. There's a very few cells that don't carry them. You have trillions of those copies. Just imagine that information load. It is truly a big data. So when a human genome was sequenced, the society decided to print out on paper one single person's genome. So we ended up with 130 volumes, a whole library of books in fine print. I believe they use 4.5 print size, font size. So it's a big data. You are a big data and you're walking around with that. And imagine all this big data is ingeniously densely packed into your 23 chromosomes in every single cells of yours. One copy is from your mother, the other copy is from your father. That's why you look like both, but not quite the same. And we have 23 of them, and we have plus, including the X or Y, that's the sex chromosomes. Your genes give your cells instructions to make proteins. Those proteins follow a very precise blueprint to make up your body and your biological traits. That's why you're so unique. For example, we have identified on the chromosome 15, the variation of your HERC2 gene would determine whether you have brown eyes or blue eyes. We have found multiple locations on chromosomes 1 and 3 will determine how sensitive you are to sweet, the sweetness in your cake, honey, or fruits. Saltiness, there's multiple locations found on different chromosomes of yours as shown here. And we link that sensitivity to saltiness to hypertension or high blood pressure. Bitterness, there's actually a whole family of your genetic variations and genotypes are through the genetic vectors to express your sensitivity to bitterness. And it's important for people wants to eating to eat healthy, for example, greens. Some of the reasons some people just never really drawn to green, collard green, for example, is because the bitterness, they're too sensitive to that. That's in your genetics. But when we talk about losing weight in this, energy abundant time, and eating fruits and vegetables are super important. I'm sure Earth Fare give you a lot of education. That's all very helpful, but we need to understand your genetics more so that we could prepare you for those situations you can be in. Umami is the, Earth Fare has a fabulous kitchen. I'm sure all the chefs in the kitchen knows the secret is using the savory umami flavor to amplify the deliciousness of any foods. And these are actually genetically programmed over millions of years. The reason we have a umami flavor detection gene factor is because the mushrooms, for example, or the chicken broth that you sense the umami flavors in, that gives our brain the signal for a survival, because that's a density, it's an energy dense food. It's a protein, high protein, high nutrition. It's a very smart mechanism. So just to give you a little snapshot of the over hundreds of genetic locations, we now have developed very good characterization and knowledge for potentially healthy eating, for drive your metabolic health and overall wellness. But the same problem as we started as a company and deliver personalized nutrition through our platform is even today, we're very much lacking the access to this information. as a foundational understanding of where we come from, both in either it's in the clinic, in the hospital, or at home. So that's the gap. As an entrepreneur, it's the problem, the question we're asking to help to fill. You are truly what you eat, and you may have, after hearing all these or know some of this already, you probably want to ask, how did that happen? How did food shape our past? So I would like to take you a little bit further back in time, because it's a very important context. So 50,000 years ago, if you remember the history, you learn early humans left Africa to propagate other continents. And that time, the whole population of a human is only 250,000. Imagine that, 250,000 people, that's it. That's all of us. And the problem with that is that population density is too limited for a beneficial mutation from the genetic perspective to settle and spread out. It just takes thousands of generations for one beneficial mutation even to stay in. But regardless, we still evolve because we're very good at adaptation and survival. During 100,000 years to 10,000 years ago, we developed this better speech capability and a bigger skull size. What it does is make us better thinker. We can evaluate very complex situations. For example, a buffalo in front of me, what do we do in order to kill that buffalo or flee? So we can predict better, we can better predict the outcomes in such a situation, and then eventually lead to a better competitiveness of the tribe who has share all these better genes for the intelligence to be competitive and through innovation. So that's why we're hungry for innovation. And then you may know this, about 10,000 years ago, a revolutionary human event happened that changed us, changed our society, cultural, genetic, biology, nutrition, access to food forever. And that is, as shown here, is agriculture. Agriculture accelerated our genetic evolution pace by more than 100 times. So now when we have a beneficial mutation, it will take not thousands of generations, but hundreds of years. It's still a long time, but it will be much easier to settle into our gene pool and benefit many people, their offsprings. So that's exactly what, if we all exposed to dairy-free labeled food. And why is that? The reason is this gene called lactase. And about 3,000 into cattle farming, the Northern Europeans, along with other 4 different regional populations, developed a genetic mutation so they can digest the sugar in milk, that is lactose, so that they can take advantage of the extra 70% of energy for survival. So it's very advantageous when you have it. And over time, that one will, one person carrying that will pass it along through their family tree, and eventually will propagate. Today, we have over 2 billion people having the persistence of this lactase gene locus. And just like in energy efficiency system, where when we leave the room, we don't need the light, we turn the light off. So the whole biology system is very, very smart and very, very efficient about that. When the gene expression or gene product protein is not needed, we'll turn it off immediately. That's why usually the wild type genotype of lactase will be turned off about 3 to 5 years or soon after weaning. The baby doesn't need to get mother's breast milk. That's how the gene was turned on and off. So it's a very dynamic gene and expression example, but through food, we literally change that mechanism. That's that's an example. And just for fun fact, I grew up in northern China. Our ancestors have never developed the cattle farming. Very few places in the northern part of China. But my ancestors, and including me growing up, are using rice as our energy source, as you are resonating, and everybody loves rice now. But it's a kind of a challenge for me when I moved to Milwaukee, studying obesity, genetics, and being tempted to all sorts of dairy, wonderful cheesecake, and dairy products. So I think that's my personal story, the collision between, my gene pool and my new environment, but that applies to everybody, right? So I always say to our patients in the clinic and now consumers through GenoPilot, there's no bad genes. Really, there's no bad genes. Genes are so smart. They are so fine-tuned for your survival. Your ancestry did a wonderful job doing that. And all the foods and an interaction with it is beautifully done. So never treat that as a problem, but we need to know where you are, where did you come from, so we can prepare us, you and everybody, to respond to this new modern environment. We're so advanced through the industrialization of our food production, distribution, and everything. Our gene pool doesn't catch up, right? Think about the hundreds of years for one mutation to settle in. We just don't have enough to respond. But now we have this fantastic access through genome sequencing and many other related health tech. We are in a very good position to be prepared to deal with that. The problem is pretty big, as you know. Obesity affects about 70 to 80% of our adults, 1/3 of our children. Sugar crisis is big. That leads to over 100 million Americans having either pre-diabetic or diabetes. 90% of the pre-diabetic cases are still undiagnosed. And all of these can be reversed through proper nutrition and activities. And we talk about, we're being bombarded with all these conventional one-size-fits-all, feel good, eat better for you foods options, but we are in the time to really personalize it to your optimal health. And then we covered, 2 out of 3 adults are overweight or obese. 1 over 3 of our children, adolescents, are overweight and obese. As a mother, that's very concerning. And just to give you a little bit deep dive, I promise this is as deep as we go for genetics today. So how does it really work? For example, as a single gene locus called melanocortin 4 receptor, this is a brain located gene that will integrate the hormonal signals and neural signals for feeding. It's a very well-made machine. For example, when you are eating food and you have a adipose tissue, peripheral adipose tissue will release and secrete something called leptin. Leptin is adipose hormone that will eventually send the signals to your brain and tells it, okay, I have enough food, I'm fed, so we should stop eating. And that talk, if we may, molecular talk, is through MC4R pathway. Now, when we somehow genetically disrupt the function of that gene, and you will see clinical symptoms such as very early on childhood obesity. As I shown on the left side, there's 2 pictures. The young gentleman on the left, he is 9 years old. His brother is shared genetic background is on the right, who is 16 years old. So you can see very clearly the gentleman on the left have overgrowth in bone, in fat mass, height, and among other clinical traits as compared to relatively normal body composition of his brother. And the reason is the young gentleman has a genetic factor mutation at the MC4R locus. This is pretty rare situation. That's why it's a good thing. But it affects 2 to 5% of early onset childhood obesity cases, which is the most common monogenic model for obesity. You can think about that model as the same MC4R locus as a qualitative destruction of that crosstalk between the brain and the adipose tissue. But we have actually identified a lot of genotypes and mutations, or called SNPs. They actually reflect the quantitative disruption, imbalance of that gene pathway. This is actually, I'm sharing my report. It's interestingly, I'm carrying a CT, which is heterozygous, one copy from my mom, one copy from my father. I share this with about 36% of the population we have data for, that I actually have a higher tendency to overeat when I'm stressed. It's definitely the true statement in my experience. Then we want to ask, you probably ask, okay, what do we do with this very interesting piece of information? So I can tell you how do I use it. So when I can't change my past behavior, obviously I overeat when I'm stressed, and it's all totally true. But when I know this, I will be able to, before the next stressors present themselves, I'll be able to prepare for alternative, so that I will be eating either healthier, for example, use mushroom instead of chips or burger patties, or go for swimming. Because I actually, I learned through my experience, after 20 minutes of swimming, my body completely calmed down. It's much better than eat a whole gallon of ice cream, if you may. So this information, it will change how you deal with situations. This information will help you deal with situations that it will come to you over again. Okay, I want to put this science advancements in the greater context of what is the world going and happen during this time. And it's actually a lot of the evolution has happened as we all experienced as consumers of health. So starting from 1980s, probably run through to early 2000, is this we call the healthy 1.0 time, where weight management started to show up as a very prominent. This is prominent needs. This is the rising of the Weight Watcher, WW and Jenny Craig and of the world, and people started to toy with low fat and then low carb and then low fat again. All these different trends, and that continue until for about 2 decades. And then there's a healthy 2.0, where all the current good labels still standing today, which is feel good food. We want to eat local, eat natural, free from, right? So this is our thinking, make you feel better, healthy trend. That's also sustained. And then there's this, in about over 15 years now, Healthy 3.0 started with foods providing functional benefits. We talk about blueberries, right? Superfoods, and then there's explosion of nutraceutical, vitamins and minerals and supplements solutions to provide you different boost in different areas where you're interested in. And that the Healthy 3.0 is still going and strong. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, I think the world started to realize, what is it? What's in there for me? What is it for me? What is my personalized nutrition solution? Whether genetic or genetic plus, that is the most important thing for the individual to live a good life. So that's in the field is called Healthy 4.0. Just like industry thought leader Marie Moody said, you cannot really get more personalized than eating for your own DNA. So we're really glad and proud that we're leading that new movement through all of your support. And today, as I can show here, we're in every corner, almost every zip codes, of the United States, as far as our customer base is. Nothing makes me happier as a founder to see your idea is impacting so many lives. And then just to show you some metrics when we were collecting over the times, at the core, we have carefully selected over 150 biomarkers. These are the little bars on the chromosomal map we just showed you. And we link your genotype, your biology, the foods you eat and how you eat it to your metabolic health. That's kind of the algorithm model. Don't think about these biomarkers as one mutation. Every marker, there is years and decades of molecular biology, animal to human trials work behind. And when we selected it, our panel is unique to GenoPilot. It's very proprietary because our science team did all the work to make sure they are robust, they're impactful, they're replicated. And we're working with lots of individuals. We're working also with lots of small businesses that are providing health solutions to their clients. And then we have a very highly rated nutrition coaching service component. And as I alluded, everything at GenoPilot is carefully curated and proprietarily processed. And we're generating this very unique resource for the world where we can understand from the genetic to nutrition to food and health, what is the longitudinal effect of the environmental cues to your gene expression. And through our research project at GenoPilot, we'll continue building this platform for you and the world. If you intrigued, okay, how did you do it, Lori and Sherry? I did it and it was super fun and it's actually very easy to do. So we collect your DNA at your home. We send you a kit, or you can download your Ancestry.com DNA or 23andMe DNA that you already processed. We analyze it at our lab, and weeks later, even days later, if we have your DNA file ready, you will be able to see all your reports through all kinds of devices you have access to. And then the good and the hard work starts. You have to start eating for your genes. We're not limited to genetic factor because we understand fully the other side of that pie chart for your overall health. So early on, even as early as your onboarding experience, we're gonna ask you non-genetic factors. These are through years of work with the top health behavioral scientists, teamwork, and we come back with very easy to understand, very easy to answer from the consumer experience, but very informative insights for food behavior, shopping behavior, social determination, and all the way to taste and your health. If you want to see, I want to show you a snapshot of what the reports look like. On the left side, we're showing you a screen of the stress and sleep quality insights. On the right side is the hunger intensity insight. These are the part of the eating behavior insights and the stress insights we provide you. In the middle, showing the optimal foods of an individual. Blackberries happen to be the highest ranked fruits that provide that individual the best optimal balance of the nutrition through one food item. Obviously, it will be a longer list, so we can help you to be holistic and having a variety of solutions for however you eat. 60 to 80% of health conscious customers, including ours, are taking vitamin daily, supplements daily. So tune into that behavior, also listening to the demand from our customers. We're providing a completely personalized formulation capacity. These are freshly made, 90-day supply each time, renewable, and shipped it to you from our from GenoPalette that is genetically informed and for your needs. In addition, we have a lot of home chefs, including myself, and we want to upgame our recipes and our cooking. We actually provide you personalized meal recipes, and these are our registered dietitian created, and we also work with a celebrity chef to make it delicious and easy to cook. When you're talking about behavior change for health and sustain and manage it, you cannot do that by yourself. We learned for lots of people. A few people can do that because you have a very strong mind, but including myself, from time to time, I need to have a pail, if you may, to set a plan, make sure I am on the right track, and have a regular checkup with the person. So we provide that on staff. We have the best registered dietitian. Some are specialized for clinical nutrition, some are specialized for sports nutrition to really cover your coaching need. And they will be there with you every step of your journey. We actually recently launched a complimentary short onboarding experience with our registered dietitian. This is a one-on-one call, and then lots of people take that opportunity and are being benefited from that. And I'm very excited to, I personally look forward to this. It's been taking a little bit longer for me as a consumer for GenoPalette, that our customers wants to not only have a daily vitamin micronutrition solution with us, but also personalized supplements through protein and fiber. So we have a plant-based protein fiber blend that is genetically informed for the person. And then if for people wants to do your shakes with the other benefits of fruits and vegetables, we actually supplement that with a smoothie recipes, and we tested in the kitchen by our registered dietitian. They're really delicious and healthy, easy to make. And we will that will come with our nutritional supplements, which is coming up hopefully this quarter. We know research doesn't stop here. We started with a research insight, and we continue to do our research. Sorry, there's a panel on top of my. Sorry, good. We at GenoPalette, we have a longitudinal wellness study focusing on personalized nutrition, honing into all these data streams we're talking about. We have actually probably one of the biggest database, the study cohort in the field. We have more than 70,000 individuals opt in to the research biobank data bank with us. When we have the de-identified populational research insights, we'll be able to ask questions like I showed on this picture and below. You know, what is the regional populational genotype for lactose, right? We will be able to ask really big questions and helping, you know, communities and societies, even our nation, to drive a healthy behavior together. Well, I hope that this is not too much of a depth of science, but you also see the relevance to your health. I really want to land my talk in this section on a very upbeat note. we are entered into this magnificent time where even 20 years ago, our ancestors or our parents didn't even have access to your genomic DNA information, along other, information we can have access to. We're really lucky. And I know there's a lot of challenges through food in your life right now for your health. But I think if we can eat proactively, we can eat purposefully, intelligently, and eat socially, because the social is so important for your health, and eat communally with people you have never met before. And all of these behaviors through food is the true medicine for longevity. And I read about it's a wild data where today in the US, we have over 100,000 centenarians. People live till 100 or 100 years old or older. And by 2050, that number gonna go to 3.7 million for the whole world. And I think we all can do that. Not only, but I don't want to live until 100 if I'm, unhealthy, unhappy. So how can we be there vibrantly, still happy, even work to contribute to the society? How about our next gen to be prepared for that, so they have an even brighter future? That's our mission. But I think we're along the way to do that. And we talk about your determination of your health. We talk about slices of genetic, non-genetic, but ultimately you are the pie. It's not slices. You determine your health. So I would like to close with a close remark that please be hungry to know your past, and be hungry to construct your present, and be hungry to demand a better future. And let's write your success story with food. Thank you.
Sherry, that was great information. Thank you so much. Very informative, and you explain things to where you can easily understand. So I know I appreciate that, as well as our audience. So again, phenomenal job. I do want to remind folks that we have a live Q&A. So if you do have any questions, please go ahead and put them in the Q&A box located at the bottom of your screen. I will now turn it over to the Earth Fare moderator. We do have some questions that are coming in already. So Earth Fare moderator, I will throw it on to you.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Zhang. That was very informative. I really enjoyed it. But I'll dive in with a couple of questions coming from our audience. The first one is one that I know probably a lot of people share. They say, I'm hesitant to share my DNA, and they want to know how you store that information.
It's a very, very important and valid question, and we get asked many times. At GenoPilot, we have developed a system where we, number one, de-identify your personal information from your health information. Health information includes your genetic, other information we showed on the screen before. And your personal information is where we can identify you as you, your address, your name, your even phone number, email, things like that. So the first thing we do at the GenoPilot system is separate these two in a very, very insulated way, so that no one, we also have this practice called need to know, meaning only people need to know certain information have access to, and we're very, very strict about it. And that's the core of dealing with any private information like genetics. And the other one is we encrypt all the information when we store your genetic and non-genetic data. So it's very, we take pride in building that system from day one. So thank you for the question.
All right, we have another question here. We have a listener who's wanting to understand your perspective on treating diseases with food. The example he uses is psoriasis as an autoimmune disorder. What kind of information can we get from this nutrition analysis that might help some of those issues?
Yeah, it's a rising issue, and we've seen dramatic increase over the past 2 decades. Excuse me. A lot of allergies, induced responses, and lifestyle, mental is playing a role. So in our report today, and we're expanding that as we speak, today's Genopolar report, you can expect to gain insights to inflammatory factors such as gluten sensitivity. So we have the sensitivity report section to provide you insights from your genetic factors perspective. There's other evidence we use that link inflammation with certain genes and certain nutrition and eating behavior, I believe. So there are also additional information you can get. We do not diagnose inflammatory diseases at this moment. I want to make sure.
And there's another similar question that's here in the chat that I think you sort of answered, but maybe there's more to share. Somebody here has asked, does the report tell you which foods they should not be eating?
Yes. So in the sensitivity report, and also there's a way to filter based on the person's preference. For example, if you're a vegan, we're gonna filter out, the meats and things like that. But from the genetic insights, your sensitivity report, for example, lactose, it will say, it won't say do not eat, because we learn from behavior scientists it's not a good way to change behavior necessarily. But some people ask for those and don't. We provide what we think you should eat instead in the sensitivity report and optimal foods section.
Excellent, thank you. Next up, this viewer wants to understand if you can create meals for them just based on that genetic DNA information.
Yes, absolutely. So building upon the recipes we have provided probably over 2 years, and now we can build out your meals, not only one meal, but putting that into a context of what kind of health and wellness areas you want to focus on. For example, better sleep, better cognitive health, and better performance. So we'll be able to build out your meals based on the wellness areas you wanted to focus on, and while eating a very balanced nutrition through food. And I believe EarthFare will be interested in working with us on providing that to the people shop at the EarthFare stores.
Awesome. All right. Here's another, I think, really important distinction that I think you'd want to make, Dr. Zhang. This person has asked, does the report explain how healthy you are?
Well, I think this person is reading our future minds, or our minds for future UI. We are planning to have a scoring card system, because people have been asking for that. For right now, we have scoring card capability of the foods and the nutrients, and they're ranked based on that, but it's kind of a behind the scene, and then people want to see how am I doing today and tomorrow or overall. So that's not in today's report, but it's definitely something we'd love to provide. It's a great insight.
Wonderful. We've got one more question here. They're asking for a little bit more information about the vitamin supplements you mentioned. Specifically, how personalized are those?
For the supplements, sorry?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The vitamin side, they're molecular grade personalized. So we have a capacity to literally putting any amounts of those selected, we call the priority nutrients. Those are opportunities. For example, for me, if I have a genotype for zinc deficiency, the Genopolar will take that information, will level up my zinc to optimal level that based on, safe to use and that dosage for my gender and age, if that's inside of the evidence. So it's every single nutrient goes into the formulations is personalized to that person based on our algorithm. And then again, this is not a lot of survey-based, for example, personalized vitamin and minerals out there. We're different from that. And that's a one way of delivering that, but ours is using DNA information to inform that. And then the pills are made for you in the factory freshly. So that's how personalized that is. I hope that answers it.
Absolutely. All right, we've got a couple more. I know we're getting close to time, but there are a couple here that I think you'll want to address. This one I think is interesting. They've asked, in your research, have you found that sugar is bad for every genotype?
Sugar in the past, through our ancestry, is only found in fruits and a little bit vegetable, right? Very, very little in meats and others. But our system will digest that into some sort of a glucose to use. So sugar in my research is never bad for you, but the processed foods and then the sugar, that pure sugar that we produce now and put in too much of it into everybody's Coke and foods are causing the problems we have for metabolic conditions, including diabetes. So genetically, please don't think sugar is bad for you. Our brain is actually powered by sugar only. So we need the glucose to make us think and be sharp. So that's why we will always say, it's not only moderation, we need to be precise about our nutrients when we eat our foods. But very, very curious question.
Yeah. We've had a couple here, people asking if they can submit DNA samples that they have from previous tests, like 23andMe or Ancestry. And then also we have a question here wanting to know if her DNA sample from 23andMe is several years old, is there a benefit to getting an updated sample, or does that information remain reliable over time?
Mm-hmm. A very good question. So yes, the answer is yes. You can try to upload any of your 23andMe or Ancestry.com data file, no matter how old you think they are. Let us to tell you whether they are good in order to process to generate your report with GenoPilot algorithm or not. We have a system to tell you right away if the data is too old, or usually means corrupted, or the missing data points that we need to have enough to infer our recommendations, and we'll let you know within days. So I would try to upload what you have, so you don't have to go through the waiting, the money, and everything again. But if not, we'll work with you to find the best way to approach it.
Wonderful. And we have several questions here in the comment wanting to know the cost associated with this test and then how they can access it. So I think Lori has the answer to all those questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we wrap up today, we invite you to take the first step on your personalized nutrition journey. You can actually use the code EarthFair20 with GenoPilot to save $20 on your DNA nutrition analysis, or you can go to genopilot.com/EarthFair to get started. We do have QR codes in all of our EarthFair locations as well. So next time you're inside EarthFair, please visit our wellness department to learn more. We have some pamphlets, additional information, and our team members have been trained on all of the GenoPilot details, so they'll be able to answer any questions that you may have. And we're taking it a step further as well. Not only can you get an essential nutrition report that is unique to you, showing you what foods to stay away from, what foods are good for you. Coming soon, we'll actually have GenoPilot meals in EarthFair's grab and go section from the EarthFair kitchen. So these are dietary competition crafted recipes that are carefully prepared and packaged by our Earth Fare chefs. So we are so excited about that. You can look for that launch later in March, and it won't stop there. We're going to keep rolling out great programs. You might even see a Gino Palette smoothie over in our smoothie and juice bar, maybe some items back in our meat and seafood department. So this is just the start for us. We are so excited. But again, please scan this QR code to get $20 off, or you can visit ginopalette.com/earthfare. We will be putting a recording of this on our YouTube channel at My Earth Fare, so make sure to go in there, subscribe. You can see all of our previous Fresh Forums as well. But for those who you know, if you have friends or family who weren't able to join today, please share that link so they can get all of this great information. And I will note that Earth Fare is the very first grocery retailer to partner with Gino Palette. So these meals, the information that you find inside of our stores, you won't get anywhere else at any other grocery store. So it's just another way that Earth Fare has truly been a leader and an innovator within the grocery industry. So Sherry, thank you so much for joining us today. We greatly appreciate all of the information you provided, and you know, we look forward to growing this program and helping to educate the communities we serve.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and thank you for joining us and for choosing Earth Fare to support you along your wellness journey. Thank you.